Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and you are watching the morning forecast show. I've been waiting to say that for a couple weeks now. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We're looking at the Japan carry trade today, so let's get straight into it. Let's see. Here we go. Welcome to season 5, everyone. We're going straight into the top stories of today. If you haven't got the newsletter, it's the first link in the description. We're looking at the Bank of Japan carry trade risk today. Everyone in the chat's going bye, 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 bye. I hope that doesn't happen again. If you saw my first official stream yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. Something went weird. Anyway, we hope to never have that issue again. I don't want to be giving financial advice on the show. So, how is everyone doing in the chat? It's lovely to be back. Thanks for staying with us. Thanks for bearing with us over the last couple of weeks while we've been getting ready for season 5 with the show and also with the newsletter. It's lovely to be back. I enjoyed doing hours research. As I said, I was up until about 5 a.m. last night. Woke up about 7 a.m. So I'm running on a couple hours sleep at the moment. But I think we're going to get back in the rhythm of things from now, so don't worry about me. We are back with the best information as always. So let's go through our top stories. I'm watching the chat, so I'm reading all your comments. Yay, Sensei is back. Bye, 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 bye. Everyone's saying bye. I'm not giving financial advice. Thank you, Sensei. I went bye, 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 XRP. Thanks for your heads up. No, don't buy. Don't buy because I didn't say buy. It was a glitch. Can someone contact the Space Center in Houston? I think XRP Rocket is lost and needs our help. Hello, human being. Hello, Yolanda. Hello, Ricardo. I think someone said it's their first day subscribing here. Yes, Aston CEO. Welcome here. It says, good morning. Today is my first day. Let me see if I can bring this on the show. Yeah, look over here. Aston says, good morning. First. Why is that over there? Make that bigger. Good morning, my first day as a subscriber. Aston, it's lovely to have you here. Where are you from? Where in the world are you from? It's all over when I say so, says LJ. Stage Your Life is here. It's lovely to see all the familiar faces and new faces here today. Belle says, yay, Sensei is back. Hello. Mahir is here. Oh, Mahir is a wonderful supporter of the channel. He says, bye. Zepic says, thank God Sensei is back. Thank you very much. David Hensley is here. Ibrahim Wolf says, I'm fully invested in Coinbase and read too late to exit. We'll have to storm the weather come rain or shine. Yep. Prepared for any scenario, rain or shine. That's what we do here on the channel. We get prepared for all scenarios, but we always win. Silver and gold miners are my go-to at the moment. Not financial advice, though. I love it, Dave. David Knight, don't worry. You don't have to say not financial advice. No one's going to come after you for your comment on a YouTube channel. Don't worry. You can say buy Binky Bonk and you'll be fine. I'm the one that needs to be careful. Even though you don't really, it's actually fine. But I don't want anyone to lose out. I always want people to do their research. Stage Your Life says bye, 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 bye. Oh, we got a new member, David Deason. David Deason, welcome to Bronze. Welcome, welcome. I need to get some sound effects because do I have any sound effects? Here we go. There we go. Just some games. Why clickbait? What clickbait? I didn't clickbait. Let me have a look. Did I clickbait today? Oh, I guess it's all over. Yeah, sorry. My job is to get you guys to watch. Obviously, it's not all over, but this is a real concern, this carry trade. We've been talking about it for 4 or 5 months. I wanted to grab your attention. I want to deliver on the title, which is a rate hike warning. The carry trade unwind is happening now. There's absolutely no clickbait in the title. You might say my picture's a bit clickbait, but you can say that about every single movie. It's all Japan, America is the thumbnail. Rates up, rate hike warning. That's all true. The yen carry trade unwind is happening now. It's all true. Absolutely true. 99% is true. It's all over. Well, I'm sure you can guess it's not all over. But if you're referring to the actual trade itself, it is all over because people won't be able to borrow cheaply to buy US equities or US debt. So in that sense, it is over. It depends how you interpret it. Anyway, welcome back. David Truthhurst reported. David Truthhurst reported. Don't know what that's about. I don't know what's going on with sports, but I like the coin. Good morning, says XRP. Good morning, lovely to have you here, XRP dude. Stage Your Life, Angie and Bruce, lovely to have you here. We can all prosper together with all the wonderful knowledge from Sensei. Thank you, Bounce Back. Yeah, we all share our knowledge here. It's not just me. Look at these links. Don't click them. Look at these links. We don't. What do you mean? Look at these links. I don't know what you mean by that. Morning all. Been out of the way for a few days, but we'll try and watch as much of season 5 as possible. Sick Boy Customs. Lovely to have you here. Just like Jack says, Japan, Jake. Which stream happened last night? And so I know what all this buy talk is about. Yeah. If you missed last night's show, it was a late one. It was about 2 a.m. It's a good thing for XRP though, isn't it? The reverse carry trade. The reverse carry trade. Don't know quite what you mean by that. I wouldn't say it's good for XRP. The reason crypto sold off more than stocks is because it's a more risky asset class. And no one wants to borrow money or borrow money to buy a risky asset class. Anyway, yeah, what happened last night? We covered Jerome Powell's speech. We thought it was going to be a bit more economical. It was more historical. But anyway, at some point, the microphone went in some sort of feedback loop, and it caught me saying bye, and it just went bye, 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 bye for about a minute. So there we go. If you missed out on yesterday's stream. So let's get into today's show. Here we go. Today's top stories at a glance. We've got a new favorite for Fed Chair. Trump picks signals a potential shift towards more aggressive rate cuts and easing monetary policy. Remember, that's actually brought the market down when we got that news, because is that what's great for the market? I know a lot of people criticize Jerome Powell. I'm not going to be here to stand up for Jerome Powell, but what Jerome Powell does do, it takes it nice and slow. The market likes Jerome Powell. The market liked Jerome Powell rate cuts in terms of under Biden. The market's liking it under Trump as well, because there's certainty, there's calculation. He goes off the data. What the market won't like is someone just coming in as Fed chair and just cutting rates, ignoring the data, ignoring inflation. So that's why we had that sell-off. Now, that's not to say if this new Fed chair comes in, we can't have a bull market. It's just there to say there is a bit of uncertainty about who this new Fed chair is. And if they keep just cutting rates and only listening to Trump and not being independent, then the market sees that as a risk. So we're going to explore that story. That story is in today's newsletter. If you haven't got the newsletter, there is the link. There's a lot coming to newsletter. Some features already rolled out, some coming in the next couple of weeks, some coming in January. But yeah, the newsletter, again, you get it. you won't have any price increase when these new features come. And congratulations to everyone who already got the newsletter. There's a free version, monthly plan, annual plan. That link gives you I think it's a 1 week trial to the annual plan. We've got a DeFi mining glitch that drains millions of dollars and that causes Ethereum concerns. China hiding real estate collapse. Remember with Evergrande, whatever it was, Evergrande, a few years ago, something might be starting. From the research we're doing behind the scenes, it looks like it's actually the Chinese officials this time that are behind it, in the sense that they're not releasing the data. So that's like Jerome Powell saying, actually, I'm not going to release inflation data because it's bad and I don't want to look bad. But there's still that underlying issue. Something like that's happening right now. And this is the story at a glance. We've got Barry shorting Tesla as the European sales drop. I think Tesla's one of the only ones in the Mag 7 that analysts are actually rating a hold or a sell. Everything else is a strong buy. So Tesla, that's still, that overvaluation risk is still present across the board from many analysts now, including Mr. Barry. Yen rate hikes threaten liquidity. That's the focus of the story today. So that's what we're coming on to shortly. The one big thing. Remember, this is in the newsletter. You get the one big thing. Global markets face systematic shock from the unwinding of the yen carry trade. For decades, investors borrowed low-interest yen to fund purchase of high-yield assets like US tech stocks. Very, very cheap money it was in Japan. At some point, it was actually negative, so they were paying you. But yeah, let's just say it was 0%. They were basically, you're borrowing money for free and buying US tech stocks, crypto, bonds, anything. You're making money. However, now that arbitrage is no longer available. Why? Well, because Japan is raising rates, their bond yields are going up, and it's causing a real concern. So the arbitrage is now failing as the Bank of Japan raises rates and the currency strengthens. This shift forces traders to liquidate risk assets immediately to repay increasing its expensive loans. So people will have to sell their trades so that they can pay off the loan, because the loan at one point was free. Now they have to pay for their loan. They don't want to take on that risk, so they're selling their assets such as crypto, stocks, US debt to then be able to pay off their loans in Japan. So the sell-off is a structural deleveraging event rather than a change in investor sentiment. As Japan and Japanese yields rise, the mathematical model supporting millions in global leverage is officially broken. There is more in the deep dive section today. The markets are fearful, fear and greed. Stock market and the crypto market is both in extreme fear today. The number that matters today, we covered it briefly yesterday, it's 1.19. Why is that the number that matters? Well, because anything below 1, and we're talking about MicroStrategy's net asset value, anything below 1, the CEO has said they might need to sell their Bitcoin. Now, that would just be an awful event for Bitcoin. If they hit 1 times net asset value, MicroStrategy starts selling Bitcoin, the media will be all over that, and that could be the capitulation event that marks the bottom of the bear market. I'm not saying that's happening tomorrow. It's not even guaranteed to happen. Maybe fairly unlikely to happen. But if it does happen, that could be the point where I would look at the markets and they might be down 20% on the day, Bitcoin down 20% or 15%, 10%, altcoins down 25%. And I would look at that and go, that's a great buying opportunity. So that's why I keep an eye on these numbers. And so you know what these numbers are before they happen, because this will be all over the news when it happens, but no one really knows about it right now. So that's why it's important. This newsletter really gives you that edge. Winners and losers, we've got quite a few big movers in out there. We've got CNKX, which is Coin Check Group. It rallied about 143% yesterday. Sold slightly in the pre-market. And also Ambitions Enterprise Management up 198%. We've got Beyond Meat, no real news. It was just more of a short squeeze activity, up 36%. And also we've got American Bitcoin Corporation, that's down 15%. But you can check out those winners and losers and the reasons why. Let's go to our main story, which is Japan carry trade while we wait. Well, our next show will be with Martyn in 40 minutes time. He'll be covering the opening bow, so stay with us, and we will go directly there after. My volume is low. Can I turn up your mic? Yeah, I can turn up my mic. Let me... That should be louder. Power's leaving anyway. Why would he care? I never said Power would care. What do you mean by your comment? I don't think Power... I don't know what you mean by that comment. Let me go here and then we'll get ready for the Japan carry trade. We'll turn it into a video actually. Let's read some of these comments and then we'll come. Oh, Potato Family, welcome to Bronze. Potato Family became a member. That is incredible. We always see Potato Family as a subscriber. Now he's a member. Welcome to the family, Potato Family. Back in Sao Paulo for Christmas. Lovely Sick Boy Customs. Let me read some of these comments. I'm a member. Yeah, Potato Family. I just saw. That's incredible. Sorry I didn't read it out. That will be solved shortly. Where's my song? Oh, I don't even have any songs right now. I'm still... do I have any songs? I should have a song. Here we go. Let's play something for you. No. I don't have... I've got some strange... Oh, here we go.
The year is 1991.
There we go. That's the Potato Family.
In seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Who else do we have? We've got 8 Set Girl. Game over. Sell your XRP now. Later buy back again. There's severe risks of doing that. The risks are, if it goes up, you're probably going to FOMO back in at a higher price. And when are you going to buy? But ultimately, you need to have your own plan. Thank you. It's great to be part of the family. I don't like any of the current Lamborghini models. Oh, there we go. You don't like any of the current Lamborghini models, says Craig. Yeah, neither. None of them. I don't want any of them. They're all so ugly, right? Your volume is low. I've turned it up now. The narrative is when the interest rates the narrative is that when interest rates in Japan go up, the narrative is when interest rates in Japan go up, the borrowing yen to invest in other countries will collapse. Theory is XRP would be the best asset to facilitate the risk. No, ECA, ignore that. As in, no, we're not at that stage yet where XRP is the one that's going to save the day, or it's going to be the one that facilitates everything. It's not going to make any impact. XRP is not going to really have anything right now to do with moving money in this. Just getting some information coming through. Yeah, we've got a big Trump event. Yeah, we've got a big Trump event happening later today. Vaz will be covering it live on the show. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And it looks like we're getting some breaking news coming in. There's some breaking news coming in right now. Bear with me. Let me see what this breaking news is. It's just coming into us via some sources. Let me just... Yeah, 1 second. There we go. That's our new breaking news widget there. Let me just see what's going on. Yeah, we've got a big announcement, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Vaz will be covering it live. Give the next generation of Americans a jump start on savings. It looks like it's going to be a monetary announcement. So this will have an impact on the markets. It's going to be... Trump is also to host a cabinet meeting. Yeah, there's going to be an official statement at the Roosevelt Room at the White House at 2 p.m. Okay, so that's just coming into us. We're going to be covering that later on the show. I just wanted to see if there was any extra information I can bring to you, but I've got the time of the event and we know sort of what that's about. Anyway, let's get back to the chat. Stay with us. We'll be bringing you that later. Good morning. Please smash that like button. Subscribing gives you the ability to comment. Consider becoming a member. There we go. Angie, thank you very much. 40 minutes in. I'm leaving. 40 minutes in, I'm leaving. 40 minutes in, I'm leaving. What do you mean? Oh, you're leaving in 15 minutes, do you mean? Feeling left out, I missed out on a song. David Decent, you know what? Here's your song as well. There we go.
The year is 1991. Birds and people are living together in seemingly perfect harmony. Until one day, a young man catches fire. This is Phoenix.
Don't know about Trump, boy. I like Kronos. Okay, we're going to get into the Bank of Japan story now. Let's get ready. Was that song too loud? Thank you very much for becoming a member, Dave Deenson or Denson. Oh, probably Denson. Yep. Feeling left out. Thank you for becoming a member. Here we go. Let's do a video on the global liquidity shop, the Bank of Japan carry trade risk. I'm going to do it as a video, as in I'm going to record it during a live show, but you guys will be first to see it before it even comes out as a video. So thank you for joining me live. I'm actually going to start with this part over here. Let's start with this. Let's see if I remember how to create a video. Why is that like that? How do I do this? 1 second. We're going to go on to Bank of Japan. I just want to record this as a video as well. There we go. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We are looking at a serious concern in the market, which is the yen carry trade unwind. We're going to go straight to our very own newsletter where we have been covering this for quite a while now. We've been on this Japan carry trade story for a very long time, and it looks like the market is now reacting to this news. Remember, this is not a guarantee massive crash. However, it is a real concern. So in today's newsletter, we had our one big thing about, and if you haven't got the newsletter, it's the first link in the description, the yen carry trade unwind. Global markets face a systematic shock from the unwinding of the yen carry trade. For decades, investors borrowed low-interest yen to fund purchases of high-yield assets like US tech stocks. Remember, we're going to come on to the deep dive. It's very... the cost of borrowing was almost zero. At some point, actually, they were paying you to borrow the money. And people would take that money and come over to US, the strongest economy, buy bonds, buy tech stocks, buy crypto. And now that loan essentially is costing them that money, their risk goes up. So now they are having to sell their US assets and crypto to pay back their loan. And that essentially causes that carry trade unwind, because if the people are leveraged as well, then it can cause a cascading liquidation event. And remember, we saw this in about, I think it was 2023, we saw this happen, and it looks like it's happening again. Remember, the cost of borrowing is actually much higher now than it was in 2023. So the arbitrage is now failing as the Bank of Japan raises rates to currency, and the currency strengthens. This shift forces traders to liquidate risk assets immediately to repay increasing expensive loans. The sell-off is a structural deleveraging event rather than a change in investor sentiment. This is not because people this is not because people are bearish on crypto or US stocks. Some people are, for sure, but the reason people are liquidating to sell back their loans isn't because they're bearish on the US market or crypto. It's because structurally they have to, because of the cost of borrowing. As Japanese yields rise, the mathematical model supports trillions in global leverage is officially broken. There's trillions in leverage because of this system. There's going to be more in the deep dive, and that's where we're going to now. Remember, this newsletter comes out every day. You get your winners, losers, your market snapshot, the 5 things you need to know. But we're going to go straight down to the deep dive here. Global liquidity shock, the yen carry trade unwind meets structural fragility. So let's go from the very beginning. Global markets are currently digesting a perfect storm scenario where macroeconomic policy shifts are colliding with specific structural weaknesses in the crypto ecosystem. Remember, the S&P 500 is a couple percent away from all-time highs at this point. We are still very bullish on the general market. Crypto, yes, we've been saying we're potentially in a bear market and we're heading down, but the markets are still not in a terrible place. The core narrative driving the current sell-off, which saw Bitcoin go down to 86,000, now it's actually even less, and Ethereum below 2,800, is the potential end of Japan's 3-decade-long zero interest rate policy. Bank of Japan Governor Ueda has signaled a decisive shift towards tightening. This threatens to reverse the yen carry trade, a massive source of global liquidity that has historically supported risky assets. Simultaneously, the crypto market is facing internal pressure from record ETF outflows and credit warning regarding Tether USDT and MicroStrategy, or now Strategy. Sophisticated investors are not viewing this as a simple correction. They're analyzing it as repricing of global liquidity conditions. So there's quite a few things coming together now in the market. Carry trade is no longer viable. Trillions is being borrowed in this carry trade that could unwind. We've been concerned about USDT for the longest time ever, but we've always said you can't just because there's one bad actor, that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in the cryptocurrency market. But we've still been aware of it. The main thing is to be aware of it and be prepared for the risk. Again, nothing I say is financial advice, so please don't buy or sell based on anything I say. But USDT, the world's largest stable coin, we've always been concerned about the audits, and now the S&P, not the S&P 500, but the S&P organization has brought down their credit warning to, I think, one of their lowest levels. So they're really concerned about USDT. And remember, USDT they own a lot of Bitcoin. A lot of the money or a lot of the dollars is printed because of their collateral of Bitcoin. If they then have to sell their Bitcoin, they own lots of Bitcoin. That can cause a massive correction as well. Also, MicroStrategy at the same time, they own a lot of Bitcoin, and they might also be forced to sell their Bitcoin because they started issuing all these different products where you would be getting a dividend risk-free, essentially, or not. Nothing's risk-free, but you wouldn't be exposed to the volatility of Bitcoin, but you'll be getting a 5-10% dividend. But now, if it falls below their 1x net asset value, they might sell Bitcoin to pay their dividends. So all of this is going on, and let's explain it a bit further. I'm always prepared for the upside and the downside, but this is what you need to be aware of. So once the story hits, you don't just get scared. You know exactly what the story is, and that's what we do in the newsletter every day. So let's have a look at the key drivers and analysis. Number 1, the macro pivot. Japan turns off the spigot. I don't even know how to say the word, but the spigot is the plug. They turned off the plug, the money printer, if you want. The primary catalyst for the recent volatility originated in Tokyo, not New York. The Bank of Japan governor issued his clearest signal yet that the central bank is ready to raise rates. Ueda stated that they would consider the pros and cons of a hike at the December 18th to 19th meeting, citing improving inflation and labor conditions. Markets reacted violently. Overnight swap markets are now pricing in a 76% probability of a rate hike in December. If we do get that rate hike, the market will be even more concerned. Yes, they're starting to price it in. That's why the market's down, but it's not priced in fully. If we don't get it, we might get a rally in the market. If we do get it, we'll probably continue the sell-off, in my opinion. The shift has caused the 10-year Japanese bond yield to spike to 1.81%, approaching 17-year highs. You can see how significant it is. This bond yield has not been to this level in 17 years. This is a once in a sort of decade or once in a couple of decades situation. It hasn't happened in 17 years. So um, that's the 18th to 19th. It's essentially their FOMC meeting is on the 18th to 19th of December. So keep an eye on that. The US FOMC meeting is next week. There's the chart to show you that bond yield over the last 5 years. But why does this matter to your portfolio? Why should you care about random Japanese yields, you might ask? Japanese yields have anchored global finance near zero for 30 years. While these yields rise, Japanese institutions who hold 1.1 trillion in US treasuries lose the incentive to hunt for yield abroad. They were buying US debt because they were earning money from it. The US government was paying them to buy their debt, just like any government around the world. However, the Japanese market was different. You wouldn't earn a yield for buying Japanese debt. Now you do, because now you can earn 1.81% pretty much risk-free by buying Japanese debt. And they're now going to start asking themselves, what's the point of buying US debt when we're getting a yield here? And that's a very, very dangerous thing, because they own 1.1 trillion in US treasuries. That incentive is closing. The yield on the US is still higher, but that incentive is closing. So they lose the incentive to hunt for yield abroad. They begin to repatriate capital. This phenomenon is known as the carry trade unwind. It sucks liquidity out of the global markets, and they essentially buy their own market. So, as Jeff Koh from CoinX noted, the dynamic historically weighs on global risk assets, including crypto. Now, if you look at this chart over here, this is the 10-year bond yield change as Bank of Japan's policy evolves. So you can really see we are heading into highs we haven't seen since 2008. And a bit of a backstory about Japan itself. From 2007 to 2016, the yield, you can see over here, it kept falling. Why? Well, because the Bank of Japan kept adding stimulus, cutting rates, and using large-scale asset purchases to fight deflation. They had a real deflation problem in Japan. That's why their rates went all the way down. 2016 to 2019, this was where the double bottom occurred. We covered the double bottom. The yield stayed around zero because the Bank of Japan introduced a yield curve control and actively held the 10-year near 10%. But from 2020 to 2025, the yield rose sharply because inflation returned. They had inflation in their markets. Japan reopened and the Bank of Japan began shifting away from ultra easy policies. Markets started to price in less intervention and the possibility of rate hikes. We're now at about 1.87%. That's how much they can earn risk-free. The higher that goes, the more likely they're going to start offloading $1 trillion of US debt. The main reason for the rise in Japan is moving from deflation-focused, heavily controlled system towards a more monetary policy where inflation and risk require higher yields. Let's go on to the next point, which is institutional exhaustion and leverage flushes. So, just looking at the comments. Would this be bullish for gold and silver? I think anything, for gold especially, anything concerning in the world, gold will benefit from it. So I think, yes, that is why in the last year you've seen gold go from $2,000 to $4,000. That's why we've been bullish on gold since 2021 on this channel. That's why I've been bullish on silver recently, because if gold goes up, silver normally catches up, and there's all the other benefits of silver. But yes, with all of this uncertainty, with leverage unwinding, gold is always a safe haven. Again, that's not financial advice. That's not me saying go out and buy gold. But I'm saying most financial advisors, most people that have a diversified portfolio would say you want some precious metals. And especially the gold and silver holders would say it solves every single problem. But do your own research. Number 2, institutional exhaustion and leverage flushes. While the macro picture darkened, the specific plumbing of crypto markets showed severe signs of stress. November proved devastating for institutional flows. Spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded a 3.48 billion in net outflows, while Ether ETFs saw record exits of 1.42 billion. Massive, massive exits from ETFs. And the issue was no one bought the dip. The lack of dip buying bid exacerbated the price action with the institutional floor that characterized much of 2024. The market was vulnerable to a cascade. So without that institutional floor that characterized much of 2024, the market was vulnerable to a cascade of liquidation. So yeah, we haven't had much retail involved in this bull market. We've had quite a lot of institutions getting involved. We've got the US government buying, we've got ETS buying. The net effect of this bull run, if you want to call it a bull run, was a lot of institutions got involved and a lot are still holding. But the issue is, right now, no one's really buying. Why? Well, because there's this Japan carry trades going on. There's uncertainty. No one knows if we're in a bull market, bear market. There's not that much retail around. We had, on the 11th of October, I believe, we had that liquidation flush where everything fell 50%. There was manipulation in the market. We saw Binance push XRP down to 70 cents. We saw it, lots of liquidations occur. And what happened there was whoever had a limit order to buy, it got executed. Everyone who wanted to buy got their buys in. Because remember, institutions, most retail audiences or whales would have limit orders set up. Including myself, I'm not a whale or anything like that. I had limit orders for XRP set up at 150, 170, $1, 180. The 150 I don't think got triggered. The $1 didn't get triggered, but my 170, 180, $2, all of those limit orders I had set up got triggered. I'm not looking to buy again today unless I've come into a lot of money, which I'm not. So I'm not looking to buy today. So essentially what I'm telling you is, because of the 11th of October, everyone who wanted to buy, they managed to buy. There is no limit orders. There's no market. The books of the market where essentially where people are buying or not. I don't know what the official term is again, but where all the limit orders are set up, there is none. So it's much easier for price to come down, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing every time we drop a level, we come down, and there's not much buying activity going on. There's just outflows and no one buying. Why? Well, because people have already bought and retail aren't really involved in the cycle. So that's what's causing the recent sell-off is essentially not mainly because there's big sellers. Where there is big outflows, we have seen the biggest outflows. That's because of the Japan carry trade risk, but mainly because everyone's bought at the price they want to buy. No one's buying. So the lack of dip buyer bid exacerbated the price action. Without the institutional floor that characterized much of 2024, the market was vulnerable to a cascade of liquidations. And that's where we get leverage, because the retail that are in, they're using leverage. So leverage wipeout. Over 400 to 600 million in bullish futures positions were liquidated in early Monday trading. That's when we had that initial sell-off from Bitcoin. Technical damage. Traders are now watching 70,000 level for Bitcoin as the next major support zone. There's not really much in our way. If we break 80,000, which is that low we had a few days ago, if we break 80,000, the next main level, technically speaking, is 70,000. So do be prepared for that. And if Bitcoin loses 10,000 in value or 15,000 in value from today, you would see your altcoins bleed. And that's what we've continued to say over and over again. Everyone keeps coming in with different altcoin suggestions. I love looking at altcoins. Maybe 5-10% of my portfolio is in altcoins. When I say that, I don't really consider Bitcoin. I don't consider Ethereum or XRP really an altcoin. So outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP, I maybe own 10-15% of my portfolio in altcoins. Why? Well, because I've been saying over and over again, it's much safer to be in those top tokens, because if we are heading into a bear market, a lot of altcoins won't survive, and we're going to continue to bleed until we get that signal. When do we get that signal? When 2024, at the end of 2024, we got that signal, and that's why I went heavy into altcoins, especially into XRP, and we got that first rise. We sold, we held on for most of the XRP, and now it's coming back down, but at least it's an XRP, because now I'm quite confident to buy XRP lower and lower. Anyway, less about me. Let's go back to news. So the chart highlights the technical impact of the recent sell-off, showing Bitcoin breaking its long-term support. You can see its upwards trend line that is now broken. We can see it's broken its 50-week moving average for the first time in this cycle. That's a
Kevin
test.
donated
Let me just
$73
turn that off.
through a super.
So moving average yellow line for the first time in the current cycle, with the price currently trading around $85,000. The focus now shifts to horizontal support near 70,000. So yeah, that's the next critical line in the sand. I think we'll bottom somewhere between 60 and 70, potentially when this moving average comes up to 60,000. Maybe that's where we'll bottom for Bitcoin. That's certainly what I'll be looking to buy if we get there. There's no guarantee, but if we get to 60,000, I'll be much more confident to buy Bitcoin. Now let's look at actual structural fragility in the market. We're talking about USDT and MicroStrategy. Beyond flows and rates, two critical pillars of crypto are facing. First is the S&P global rating downgrade. We're talking about USDT, which has now had a downgrade to number 5, weak. I think that's their lowest rate. Yeah, it's the lowest possible score. Very, very concerning. Why? Well, you might think it's just a stable coin. I don't hold the stable coin. I don't care. Well, firstly, if USDT collapses, the whole crypto market will collapse overnight 50%. Why? Well, because most of the trading pairs are against USDT, because there'll be a depegging event which will cause a cascading liquidation event. Why else is that a concern? Well, because USDT Tether, the company, own thousands of Bitcoin, so they would have to sell that to try and prop up the pegging of $1. And now they've got the weakest score, so it's really concerning. But look, there's always been concerning stories about USDT. I never liked USDT, but you can't just live on fear. We can't always just live on the fear of what happens if USDT collapses. You have to be prepared for what happens, but you can't just live on that fear, because if you continue to live on that fear, then what happens is you probably lose out on the gains. It's just like people in 2022 who didn't buy the stock market because they said the bear market's going to continue. We're going to have a more severe bear market. And look what happened. We just went into all-time highs. That's always the concern of just looking at one story and being permanently bearish. Be aware of it. Know what it means. What if it happens? How would you cope? Where's your emergency fund? Are you going to buy some more? But don't make all your trades based off it. So this is a really scary story, and I'm really concerned about this story. But I'm not going to go sell my XRP tomorrow because of this story. I just have a plan that if this happens, brilliant. XRP is going to drop 70%. Do I have my limit order set up? Do I have money on the side? Am I over leveraged? This, that, and the other. Always be prepared. So yeah, the S&P global ratings downgraded USDT to 5, weak, its lowest possible score. The agency cited persistent gaps in disclosure. I mean, this doesn't sound good at all, does it? Persistent gaps in disclosure, and warned that significant drop in Bitcoin's prices will leave the stablecoin uncollateralized. It's just awful. If Bitcoin drops too much, they don't have any collateralization and they will depeg. I mean, a lot's riding on Bitcoin staying up. And we'll come on to MicroStrategy as well, which is also riding on Bitcoin staying above a certain level, maybe 70,000, 60,000. The renewed fears regarding counterparty risk in the market, market's main settlement currency. Sorry, this renews fears regarding counterparty risk in the market's main settlement currency. Yeah, USDT. So the fears are back. Secondly, this might be more concerning, less concerning. MicroStrategy, actually now Strategy, is facing a dangerous feedback loop. The company's market net asset value, most people refer to it as their NAV or their MNAV. Are we still live? Yeah. What's going on? Let me just check. Are we still running live? Yeah, we are still live. That's weird. I apologize. I don't know what's just happened here. Let me open this up again. Yeah, so MicroStrategy, a really concerning story here. Their MNAV, which is their market net asset value, or you might see it as NAV, written most of the time. Yeah, we're still live. Thank you, human being Liz. Oh, thank you, Liz. So their net asset value, essentially, what is their actual value of the stock compared to how much holdings they have, and it's always should be trading at premium because they make profit and they should be trading at premium. If they no longer trade at a premium to their Bitcoin, and their company is worth less than the Bitcoin they hold. So if they and this is when the CEO Fo Leng indicated that if the metric actually falls below 1, the company might be forced to sell Bitcoin as a last resort to fund the dividend payments. So the CEO has come out and said, if our net asset value falls below 1, what we're going to have to do is sell Bitcoin. I mean, imagine MicroStrategy selling Bitcoin. I mean, the news stories there would be absolutely horrific. That can cause Bitcoin to collapse. If Bitcoin collapses, the USDT can also collapse because they'll be uncollateralized. If USD collapses, you've got a major deleveraging event because all trades are 90% of the stablecoin market is USDT, and that's what everyone uses to leverage trade. And then they will have to sell their Bitcoin. Oh my god, that would be a worst case scenario. So be prepared for the worst case scenario. It's probably an unlikely scenario, but it is. I mean, that's the underlying. That is what will happen if Bitcoin goes down to 30,000 or 40,000. If that happens, we will be in crypto market turmoil, and I would be loving buying XRP at 10 cents, 50 cents. Still a possibility to be aware of. So anyway, that'll be awful if MicroStrategy starts selling Bitcoin because they I mean that just won't look good at all. But why you'll say, why do they have to sell their Bitcoin? Well, they started offering all these products. If you listen to their earnings calls, which I don't really recommend because MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor talks for too long, but we do listen to it because we want to give you the best research. They've brought out all these products for different risk tolerance investors. So for people that just want a little bit of exposure to crypto but not the volatility, they've got all of these different products where you can go and buy MSTY, for example. That's just a random ticker symbol, but they're like that. You can go buy that, and essentially you're just buying a bond where you buy that, they just give you 8% dividend returns because they think Bitcoin will go much higher. So they'll take the rest of the money, but they're guaranteeing you, or pretty much guaranteeing you, an 8% dividend. So they brought out all these products, and now or maybe not a yield, maybe they'll give you a dividend or whatever. And because of that, if Bitcoin falls below a certain value, they have to continue to pay out those people. So they'll have to sell their Bitcoin to pay their dividends. And that's what we've got going on here. So that's the MicroStrategy story. Now let's try and wrap this up because Martyn will be live. If you're watching this as a video, we are filming this during our morning forecast show. Martyn is live in 9 minutes, and I'll be ending the show in 9 minutes. But let's get on to the last part about this carry trade, so you know what's going on. Let me click this. The single most complex and most potent force currently acting on the market is the yen carry trade unwind. Bring it back to the carry trade. So for decades, investors has utilized a specific arbitrage strategy. Don't know what the carry trade is? I'll say it one more time. They borrow Japanese yen at zero or near zero interest rates and convert that yen into dollars, euros, and they buy higher yielding assets like US tech stocks, corporate bonds, or crypto. This is basically free money. However, the mechanism is reversing. The Bank of Japan is signaling rate hikes. The cost of borrowing yen increases. Simultaneously, the yen is strengthening and debt becomes more expensive to pay back. Investors are forced to sell their risk assets to buy back yen to close their loans. This is not a sentiment shift, it's a mechanical deleveraging of the global financial system. When the Japanese yields rise to about 2%, the mathematical logic that supported trillions of dollars in global speculation begins to break down, and now we're about 1.81%. So, the final watch list for you guys. This is all in the newsletter. Go check it out. The link is in the live chat. It's also in the first link in the description. So, what you need to look out for the Bank of Japan is, are we going to get that rate hike? Right now, the market's pricing in 76% chance probability. We're looking at the December 18th to 19th policy meeting. We'll try and cover it. I think it's normally at a terrible time because Japan is way ahead of the UK, but we'll try and cover it. That's on December 18th to 19th. That's the Bank of Japan policy meeting. In fact, we will cover it live on the show. So, because it's such a big event, if the Bank of Japan confirms that rate hike, we're looking at more volatility and that carry trade to actually unwind. But if we do get a pause, we might see a market rally. Also, keep an eye on the net asset value of MicroStrategy or strategy. If it's getting close to 1, then it really becomes concerning. And then also the support of 80,000 on Bitcoin. If we've dropped below 80,000, we are looking at 70,000. We have been looking at silver at the chart of the day. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning into this video. There'll be 2 videos up here for you to take a look at. The newsletter will be down here that you can go sign up for. There's a $2,000 XRP giveaway that's in the description as well, so to go check that out. Good luck to your trades. Remember, not financial advice. And remember to tune in to our shows every day. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye. Okay, that's going to come out as a video. Let me go to the live chat, see what your comments are. Martyn will be live shortly. Let me just see this. Okay. So Beyond Meat is squeezing right now. Yes, it's in the newsletter today. If you go and check out the newsletter, you will see our analysis on it. We put it in our top movers today. Essentially, it's actually just short squeezing. There's nothing really to it. Let me see if I can put this up for you. What was it? BYND? Yeah, BYND. Here we go. Let me show you this. Does it work? It does work. BYND, yeah. Let's go into the 5-minute time frame. Yeah, up 36% in the pre-market. Again, it's just short squeezing. I mean, good luck to investors. I mean, it was at a pretty low valuation, 50 cents, $1. What's it valued at now? 607 million. But I mean, it's pretty much gambling at this point. Okay. ETFs will also play a role for this too after supply shock in the future. One thing for sure, XRP needs the catalyst that will decouple it from Bitcoin. If it gets used for the reverse carry trade, that would be it. If it gets used, Mac Drum Z, you keep repeating this. If it can be used for the reverse carry trade, there's no way that XRP will be used, could be used, or has the infrastructure to be used for a reverse carry trade. My concern is you've probably got this information from other X or YouTube channels that are just trying to sell a narrative. In reality, that's not a catalyst for XRP. I do think if Bitcoin, if all of this happens with MicroStrategy and USDT, that could be a catalyst where everyone looks at Bitcoin again and goes, is this really amazing? And maybe XRP will outperform. I think if we do have that crash on the way back up, I think XRP will outperform. But I don't think it has anything to do with the actual mechanics of money moving because of the reverse carry trade. Relin on Ripple could be Hugh then. I'm 4 acres on X. We spoke. Me and you, 4 acres on X. We spoke. Please be careful. I don't think we have spoken. Yeah, this is just an announcement to everyone. There is scammers everywhere. They pretend to be me. They pretend to be Martyn. If we've spoken, I would not have spoken about money. These people will be quite convincing. They'll pretend they're me. They'll have my logo, my name. There's always something different, but they will take everything and they'll try and get money from you. So please, the rule of thumb is, I firstly don't message you. So if I messaged you, that's wrong. I don't message people. People message me and then I might reply. But the main rule is, if anyone pretending to be me or anyone in the world asks you about money, send crypto here. There's this next investment opportunity. Try this, try that. It's all a scam. It's fake. So the 4 acres on X, I might have spoken to you, but I don't think I have. I'm really worried you're speaking to a scammer. 4 acres on X. 4 acres on X. 4 acres on X. I don't have any DMs with you. Please be careful. 4 acres. No, sorry, 4 aces. 4 aces. What am I saying? It's so small, I can't see. 4 aces. Yeah, I don't have any conversation with you. How long would it take for the carry trade to unwind if they raise rates to... Normally, it can be very quick, yeah. If they raise rates to 2%, yeah, very, very quick. A scammer farm in Cambodia. Oh, snap. Yeah, yeah. This is my official X. Let's see if I can bring you my... This is the link to my official X. Please don't tell me you sent any money to anyone. The 9Jed L9. Please tell me you didn't send any money. Please let me know. Oh, God. Let me know. That's my official X. Does it still work as a link? No, does it work? Yeah, that's my official X. I have rebranded to Sensei Live. Sensei Crypto is done. No, it's still out there, but just I have rebranded to Sensei Live just to let you guys know. In fact, I'm just Sensei. The newsletter Sensei News. Some of it's Sensei's Insight, some of it's Sensei Live. I'm just Sensei, but yeah, don't worry. If you don't see me as Sensei Crypto, it's still my account. I've just changed to Sensei Live. Why do you say Sensei? Why do you say the Sensei? Why can't XRP be used for the reverse carry trade? The mechanics are not in place for it to be used for the reverse carry trade. We're talking about the reverse carry trade happening in the next year. XRP won't be able to facilitate that. There is not the actual rails right now to be able to facilitate the reverse carry trade. The product is not in place. Brad Garlinghouse hasn't even said that their intention is even for that. No one is building a product right now for specifically that reverse carry trade system. That is something we're talking. The reason we invest in XRP is because we think in the future that's going to be something big. There's not really. That's not how it's going to be used. We're talking the next year, and the rails are not there for it to be used the next year. Thanks for all that information. Have a good day. Thank you very much. As a bridge asset, use of XRP as a bridge asset, use of XRP for the reverse carry trade. Sensei, will the reverse carry trade? Will the reverse? Let me just. I'm just seeing when Martyn. I'm just getting a message from Martyn. There we go. There it is. There's Martyn's link. Says, will the reverse carry trade cause stocks to struggle since they're T+1? T+1. What do you mean T+1? Will the DTCC switch to atomic settlement? Would XRP be used? If so, what's the liquidity math? Says XRP's. Oh, yeah. Wow. What a question, Patrick Cummings. I don't know if we're going to switch to atomic settlement. Don't know if XRP will be used. If so, what's the liquidity math? Says XRP's price should be. Way too many assumptions there. Way too many assumptions. I mean, we can't just say if this happens, that happens, this happens, this happens. What's XRP's price? I mean, that's how other YouTubers come up with $1,000 predictions. Anyway, we'll do more on the price of XRP and my levels and where I think it'll go in maybe tomorrow's video. In terms of the reverse carry trade and the bridge asset, maybe I will do some research for you guys to really explain to you why that's not going to happen. Yeah, that's not me. Did you send them? Yeah, no, that's all me. Yeah, don't worry. I can't do anything about it. So just please let me know you didn't send any money. Let me just see. Is this Martyn's link? Oh, here we go. Yeah, Martyn is going to go live now. So what I'm going to do is end the show. Martyn is ready to go live. The 9Jed, please let me know. Did you send them any money or not? I really hope not. And that's a warning to everyone. They will pretend to be me. I don't message you. They'll ask for somehow. They'll first talk to you, then they'll try and manipulate you to send the money or put money into this investment. They might not directly say, send me money. They might say, buy this coin, and then the liquidity is drained. So anything to do with your money, I never message you. Martyn never message you. I never tell you investment opportunities. Anything like that, I don't do that. Let's end the show. Let's get ready for tomorrow. Newsletters back in action every single day. More features coming. Live shows are going to get better by the day. But it's wonderful to be back. Season 5, my first show. So great to be back. I strive to give you guys the best information possible. Now we're going over to Martyn. I think this is redirected. I'll have to check. And then we'll end the show. Martyn's covering the morning forecast. So let me just check this is redirected and then I will end the stream. Yes, it is. Brilliant. Okay. Sensei, a lot of people have watched JC, including myself, and have the impression XRP were the pivotal for the reverse. Oh, is that why? Oh God. I'll do some research and I'll try and debunk that. I mean, if he's right, he's right. I'll do the research and I will tell you why I think that's wrong. Nasdaq boss says recent Swell bank blockchain integrated in back. Yes, you say bye. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Straight over to Martyn now for the opening bell. Lovely to be back. Stay where you are. It'll take you automatically there. The link is also in